Hey everyone, welcome back to the Slept On podcast. I'm Liv, and today we have a special guest on the show. His music is a blend of bedroom pop and indie rock, and his latest EP has been getting a lot of love. Hello, Charlie Bennett.
Hello, thank you very much for having me on. This is very,
Of
very
course.
lovely. Thank you.
We're so excited to have you, and congratulations on your latest EP, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need to add for listeners just a little disclaimer. His EP is called Sweetie. I'm not doing like a Chris Jenner impression.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
But yeah, I absolutely love listening to it. It has like the dreamy vibes that I love, like of
Thank
like
you.
a. I saw somewhere you described it as like something you'd listen to on a summer evening, and I think that comes
Mhm.
across so well. The people agree, they love it. So how do you feel now that it's out there in the world?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Sweetie's been a really interesting time for me because I started writing it in my last year of uni in a very leaky student house. And then it's kind of led to me doing my first ever headline tour, and it's all been very bonkers. And I've got like my first ever vinyl from it and all these different things. So it's been a very wild time, and it's just been really nice to see everyone's nice reactions to it. Because yeah, I started my whole thing is writing songs in my bedroom, as you can kind of see behind me a little bit.
Mm.
Sweetie was a bit of a progression though, because it was the first time I'd worked with a producer. Sorry, can't get my words out. It was the first time
Okay.
I worked with a producer on things. So that was really interesting. Quite daunting in some ways.
Yeah.
Um, kind of letting someone else into the kind of world that I was making. But no, it was really, really cool. It was a really cool process because it all again started in my bedroom and it's still very much like bedroom based. It's just adding on extra layers with the help of other people. So no, it's been such a cool process and it's made me really excited for the rest of this year. So yeah.
Yeah, I think even the description of bedroom pop, bedroom rock, like shows how intimate it is.
Mhm.
So I can imagine inviting someone else into that must have been a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, I guess like the whole Um, because I guess the genre, at least from my understanding, kind of blew up during lockdown and everything when everyone was kind of bedroom bound. So I think there's definitely been a shift in not only just in bedroom pop, but just songwriting in general over the last few years, where things have become a lot more um, vulnerable and intimate, and like very much like
Mm.
letting people into. I think whereas maybe and this kind of bleeds into promotional stuff as well. I'd say more these days with promotion and things, it's more about being authentic and vulnerability than it is like, here's a song, go listen to it, that kind of thing. I
Mm.
think people really latch on to stories and like people's lives and things, which is really nice because um, it's a deepening connection, which is really,
Mm.
really lovely. Yeah.
Great. And as well, I think that you've really touched on something there. The idea of things being, I think, underproduced has like a bit of a bad rep. It sounds almost as if it's
Mhm.
incomplete. I think it's perfect in itself. I saw a post that you did actually where you were saying that, forgive me, I forget the specific single, but someone asked you to not release it because it wasn't produced enough. And
Mhm.
then it went on
Yeah.
to be super successful. So I think that that's sort of evidence that people are looking for that kind of authenticity. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I think it's been something I've really had to kind of um what's the word? Like stick to my guns with.
Mm.
Because yeah, that was a song called I'll Give You the Moon, which was all made in again a student house at like 2 in the morning, sat underneath a duvet, so I didn't wake up my housemates at the time. Um, and I took it to some various industry people that I was in contact with, and they were like, "Oh, this sounds really good. Is it the demo?" And I was like, "No, this is the song.
Yeah.
This is the one I want to put out." And they're like, "Oh, you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Yeah.
And then it's done really really well, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is. Um, I think again, this is all just from what I'm saying. I think the industry is starting to sort of because there is a big stigma around not making stuff in a studio still, but I think there is the more that you see people kind of blowing up on TikTok and people like setting up a phone in their room with an acoustic guitar and then that video going viral, I think people are starting to come around to it, which is
Mm.
nice. Because yeah, it's just also from like a financial perspective, because there are I mean, technology and everything and recording software is becoming cheaper and cheaper every day, which is great. But there is still a barrier in some ways to get into music because like studio time costs money, and obviously people who own studios should be paid, but obviously some people don't have access to that. So sort of, um, I think that there's a real importance of making sure that songs that aren't produced in studios are still treated in a similar fashion to ones that are, because otherwise I think there's a financial disparity which isn't very fair.
100%. I totally agree. And also, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I think TikTok has kind of like brought a decade full circle to like, do you remember that era on YouTube in 2014 when people were blowing up like for playing songs on their ukulele and it was just
Hmm.
them? I'm thinking specifically about Doddle Oddle. I used to be
Yes.
obsessed. I would
Hmm.
be up all night until like daylight watching her stuff. And I love the fact that it's come full circle because I think there was a real beauty in the freedom to just pick up an instrument, sing your heart out, and people can relate to the lyrics and love the lyrics and the sound without it needing to be like so heavily produced. So yeah, I didn't know. I just wanted to throw that in there in case in case you also thought that because when I was watching some of your stuff, it kind of reminded me of that, and yeah, it was really nice, and it's really sickening that it was 10 years ago. That's
Yeah,
wild.
that
But
is
yeah,
that is.
going back to your EP, so the cover art suits the sound so well. Was it you who created the cover art entirely?
So yeah, it was. I did all the sketching and everything on it, so it's all Sharpie that I've scanned in and then edited the colors
Ah,
on. But so I made it with the photography was with the help of my mate Oscar Blair. He's taken photos for many different people like Claro and Declan McKenna, all these
oh,
really talented people, and he's a lovely, lovely friend of mine. Yeah, so we really wanted to go for like a um, because I know that all the colors in the shoot are very much like primary colors. It's very like cartoony. It's like bright red, bright yellow, bright blue.
mm,
It's all very much like blocky colors. Because yeah, I think I really want to have like a sense of specifically for this EP and my other songs as well. There's a big emphasis on making things like fun and not taking things too seriously.
yeah, I love
If that
that.
makes sense. Um,
We need that, I feel.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice to just kind of um, because I am very lucky in the sense that this is my job, so I do take it seriously in that sense. But
Mm,
also, like I also do recognize that I am just making songs in my room, and I like it's just nice. So I think yeah, I think with both like the art that I want to have on my songs and the songs themselves, and when I play live and things, I'm always wanting to bring an emphasis on fun and making
mm.
things yeah, in that sense. So yeah, that's kind of where the whole inspiration for the cover art came from. And obviously, Sweetie, it needs to be quite bright and like I think it'd be a bit. I mean, could have gone a different way, but I think it would have been a bit odd if it had been like very dark and grungy for an EP named Sweetie. But I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe in a different world.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of leads me on to my next question. So, was there a specific thought into what order the tracks would go in? Because I thought it was interesting that you'd end an EP called Sweetie with a track called Bitter. What was the thought behind that?
Yeah, let me pull up the thing real quick because I had I have like a whole notes page
Oh,
where I'm like
perfect.
where I'm like, oh, which way should this go? And I was sending it to people at the time, being like, here are all the songs. How do you think it should go? And some industry people disagreed with me and said that it should be the order was a bit wacky, and it is, but I also like it because
We
they were
like
like, what?
wacky. Yeah.
It's yeah, I think I took. I was also very wary again because this was my first like vinyl release. So I was like, okay, whatever I do is quite permanent.
Mm,
It's not like just online, so I could go in and edit it later. Um,
mm.
but yeah, so with specifically when you said about the song "Bitter," that was kind of name came after me coming up with the EP title because I was like, let's do some like juxtaposition, that GCSE English term.
Love it. Yeah. English teachers everywhere are just cheering. Yeah.
Exactly. There we go. Thank you very much. Um, but yeah, so I thought, Because that track is like I'd say different from the others, the most different from the others on that. Because it's like um, although like I'd say my main, as I've said before, my main like goal with music and things is to make things fun. I know that song's a bit more like personal and deep, and I think it's the again that vulnerability that we mentioned earlier. So I think that's with that song specifically, and kind of the overarching theme is kind of an emphasis on fun and vulnerability, which is where I think again, as we said, with like the rise of TikTok and everything, is why music is kind of shifting that way. It's people wanting connection to things. Um, but sorry, answering your question about why the tracks are in the way that they are. Um, yeah, so it was kind of I know because the way I see it is the songs are kind of split into two different categories. You've got like lively songs, and then you've got like more acoustic songs. So where I'm looking at, you've got Pretty Words. I'd say that's probably one of the liveliest ones on there. I was like, okay, I want to have like a punchy one to start off with to make it all jumpy. And then the one that the people I was speaking to seem to disagree with is putting T for Two straight after it, and it is a
Mm.
bit of whiplash because it is it is very acoustic. Um, but I don't know. I wanted it to kind of um, how to say. Um, I did the same thing on my first EP with Duvet Days, where the songs kind of alternated from lively to acoustic. I think, although people may say put like the acoustic ones at the end or something, I quite like having an alternating pattern because then it's not that the songs would bleed together otherwise, but I think it kind of gives each song its own moment. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so sorry, a bit rambly there, but that's kind of my thought process.
No, yeah, do you know what? I think it's great to end it with a song called Bitter because it kind
Yeah.
of leaves people wanting more. It creates a little bit of like, ooh, that was a tone change. So yeah, I thought it was a really interesting decision.
Thank you.
Um, so as you've mentioned, you did your first headline tour across Europe and the UK. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That must have been, I mean, what I want to know is what was going through your head when you set off? Was it in UK first or did you go abroad?
UK first. We started out in Birmingham, which is where I'm based, which was really
Oh,
cool.
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was uh yeah, most of it. I'd say for the most of the tour, I was very much kind of in shock in just a very good way. It's like when
Mm.
it all set off, it was kind of because I kind of properly started doing music at the end of 2020, but it was still kind of alongside my uni stuff, so it wasn't by any means like a main focus or like I literally couldn't apply all my time to it. Um, but it's um, in that sense because I've been doing it since the end of 2020. It's quite been I can't remember that it's been quite a long time in the making. So yeah, starting out in Birmingham was really lovely because we played at the Sunflower Lounge, which is the venue I did my first ever headline show ever a couple of years ago.
Oh,
That's
amazing.
like a standalone one.
Mm.
Um, so that was really lovely, and like to have that room like packed out was crazy. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
full circle.
yeah, so it was. I mean, like, it's all very much DIY with that tour. People who came along may have seen at the end of every show, me and my bandmates bundling all my stuff into my big Honda, and then me kind of being cramped up at the steering wheel because I got merch behind my head trying to drive down the M5. But no, it was really lovely. It was very much DIY, which is the way that I wanted it to. It was but yeah, it was just one of the best experiences I've ever had, and I'm really excited to do it all again. So yeah.
Exciting. I mean, do you have a specific moment on the tour that stands out to you as a highlight moment? Maybe it was like a funny moment or something going wrong. It doesn't have to necessarily be.
Oh, I've got a couple for these. It's I'd say like in terms of I'll do like the funny slash stressful one first, and I'll do like the nice one afterwards.
Okay.
The Well, because it was the dates were split into like a couple of 3 day blocks. So we'd have like 3 days, then like 1 or 2 days off. I can't remember exactly how it was, and then another block of dates. So you'd have a break in the middle, which was nice. Because it allowed us to kind of do the shows, do them to the best of our ability, kind of recoup and then do the next
Mm.
bit of shows as best as we could. Um, and the way it worked was we did, I think it was Birmingham and Manchester, and then me and my bandmates kind of split for a bit because we all, my bandmates were going to different parts of the country, and we all said, okay, we'll meet in Brighton. I think it was on the Tuesday, Monday or the Tuesday, one of the days. I was like, cool, leave all the stuff with me. I'll be in Birmingham, and then I'll meet you in Brighton in a couple of days' time. And it comes to the couple of days' time, and to Brighton from me is about 3.5 hours away, so quite a jaunt, but like doable. Um, and I bundled all the stuff in the car. I was like, cool, it's about midday. I don't need to get in until about 5. Brilliant. And then I had a phone call, and then I needed to set off. And by that time, it was coming up to about 1. But I was like, brilliant, I've still got like an hour leeway if I needed to stop or something. And then for some reason, both of the main motorways down south were completely shut. And to get to Brighton for anyway is quite difficult. And I think by the end of it, I've been in the car for about 6.5 hours.
Oh my God.
And I got there. My bandmates were rightfully so quite stressed because we didn't get to sound check or anything. So that was an interesting time. Me trying to bundle in like a drum kit, all these amps and stuff. Like, come on, let's do it. And then we've got people waiting outside. I'm like, really sorry, you just need to go set everything
Do you
up.
know what though? I feel like that adds to the whole sort of DIY vibe. I bet people loved it.
Yeah, it was.
Loved it.
Yeah, it was a really nice atmosphere, and it was. I mean, everyone at the crowds and every single show we ever played are always lovely, but that one was really, really nice for everyone's understanding, and it was just like at the end of the day we could all joke about it, which was nice. Um, yeah, and the show was brilliant, so that was really good.
Perfect.
Yeah, and in terms of like the non-stressful bits of tour, I'd say my favorite memory was probably from the London show at the Grace, where I have a song called Local Chippy from my first EP, um, and there's a bit in it where I imitate the sound of a trumpet with my mouth. It sounds really weird when I say it like that, but if you listen to the song, you'll understand what I mean. Um, and it's really lovely that there's been like a community theme going on where at every show that I play that song, people bring out kazoos and go along with the trumpet bit at the end, and I've got a really cool video of that happening, and
That is
it always takes you by
amazing.
surprise.
That is amazing. Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's I mean that was a song um that I recorded again at like crazy hours of the morning and like 15 minutes on an Instagram live stream, and to have that then in a room of like 100 people all with kazoos was really interesting. So yeah, it was just really, really lovely. It's one of those because a lot of my music sort of blew up during lockdown and shows weren't really happening. To sort of have that translation from online to real life has been quite an emotional experience, and it's just been really nice to see the sort of real life impact of the community and the songs that are being made, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's lovely. And I was going to ask you actually, what is the translation like from, as you've described, bedroom rock to on stage? Like, even just from a technical point of view, did it take some getting used to, or did it just come quite naturally?
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. Because when I first started making music, I was very wary that I am one person. So I was like, I at the time I didn't know anyone else that could like help me on stage. So I was like, okay, I need to write songs that I can easily translate live and it not how to say be too stripped away from the original sound. But then as it's progressed, when I then went to uni, I met my two bandmates, Meg and Owen, who have been brilliant in helping me make all these songs come to life. And none of us are like really musically trained. There's no sort of like music theory or anything in it. It's like, here's a song, okay, let's try and give it a go and then see how we go. This was the first tour where, um, excuse me, we had like in ears, which was really official. So we could have like a tempo and everything, which felt quite alien in some ways, but also really helpful. Because it just means you can do more stuff and you can um, kind of experiment with lighting and all these different effects and everything. Because yeah, we did our first tour in 2023 just as we'd graduated supporting Will Joseph Cook, and we did that entire tour like no in ears, no backing tracks or anything. It was all just like whatever you played, you heard. So I think in terms of the um, sound has been quite seamless in terms of like learning things. It's just been really nice, and again, I'm really lucky to have had Megan Owens help in making all this happen. I'd say from like the how to say like the community experience, it was quite a shock at first in a good way, as in it's kind of
Mhm.
one of those things where you can get quite um, lost behind the numbers, as in you can kind of it's very different seeing like say 100 likes on online and then seeing 100 people in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's just really nice that again because it had been such a um, shows have been pulled back so much due to lockdown. It was really interesting to see all that sort of come back and be like, oh, I've been following you since like I don't know, late 2020 or whichever date, and it's like, oh, this is like such an interesting like full circle connection moment. So yeah, it's just been really every show that we do is always like I'll never get over that experience really. It's always just like my favorite part of every show is the afterwards in the
Yeah.
nicest way, as in getting to meet people. As in I love
Yeah.
playing on stage, but as in my favorite bit is the after bit when I actually get to speak to people and
Mm.
just sort of like hear people's stories and connect personally. It's just really nice.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about your fan base a bit more. So they call themselves the Straw Bennets.
Yes.
Was that your idea?
No, yeah, it's so this has been a really interesting formation really. I'm not wearing it today and I feel quite blasphemous for not wearing it. Usually I'm wearing a little knitted strawberry as a
Yes.
necklace.
I have
Um
seen the famous strawberry necklace on your socials.
Thank you
It's
very
great.
much. Yeah, so that it all started because of that because basically I found this strawberry. The story goes I found this strawberry outside of one of my old uni flats, and I took it home and I washed it and I was like, oh, this looks really cool. I'll put it onto a necklace and I'll start wearing it. And then I just happened to have it in the background of a lot of my videos, just wearing it, and then people would sort of latch onto it. They'd be like, oh, you're the strawberry bloke. That's you. Um, and then I
Like,
think it
yeah,
was
guess
yeah, it
so.
was like I'll take it. I mean, you can see I've got some crocheted strawberries from one of the people in the community who gave me these at a show. So
Oh,
there's a lot of stuff in my room that just happens to be very strawberry based now, and it's all sort of come from this one object, which is really nice. I think it came from a live stream where someone sort of put my last name and the thing together. I was like, oh, this is really cool. So
yeah.
it's really nice that like I really appreciate the community's support both for my music, but I also say I really appreciate the community for supporting each other because it's like it's really nice that they like my music, but I've seen, especially through like Discord and just social media in general, it's just really
Mhm.
nice to see the community being supportive to each other, and I'm just really grateful to be a part of that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just really lovely.
No, I mean, whoever thought of the name, like, is brilliant. It's so
Yeah,
funny. Let's speak about your merch for a second. So, I really love the handwritten notes that you give to
thank
people who
you.
buy your merch. I think it's such a lovely touch, and I guess I just wanted to ask, how important is it to you as an artist to have that personal connection with your fan base?
Yeah, thank you. It's actually I mean it's out of shot at the moment. I'm currently packaging a lot of merch and I've got a lot of my handwritten notes just on my bed behind me. Yeah, so the handmade merch is um definitely a really important aspect of like my music to me, and it's because like I've got cassettes, I make those at home. I've got my handwritten lyric sheets that I make. I've made like bracelets and things before, and I've made t-shirts and things before here. It's starting to get with the t-shirts and things, it's becoming more and more difficult to do that here just as the community grows. But I always have want to yeah, I think it's um that personal connection to me is so important, and yeah, I think it's just really lovely to be able to sort of um how to say um I think a lot of the because my music is so like I make it known that it is so DIY and I do it in my bedroom. I think it's nice to have that aspect tied in because yeah, it's just nice to sort of do. I'm mixing my words here, but what I mean is it's just really nice to have that personal connection in any which way that I can, and especially with like the merch and things, because I do it all myself from my bedroom and things. I'll sort of
Mm.
remember people's names and be like, "Oh, I've had an order from you before," and I'll put it in a note like, "Thank you very much for your order. I remember when you ordered this. How's it going? Thank you very much." So it's like a little pen pal thing in a way, which is really nice. Yeah, and obviously that comes with limitations because I am one person
Of
and
course,
it
yeah.
takes time and things. But I always want to be as personal and as interactive as I can because the community is so supportive, again, not only to me but to each other, and I want to be as active as possible in that community.
I think people just appreciate the effort as well. Like, people know you're just one person, so, but I think people just appreciate the fact that, they may have seen you when it was lockdown. You've kind of grown since then, so, and you're still making that effort. I think that people do appreciate that. Yeah, and I think that's kind of unique. I mean, normally when people grow and their fan base grow, that sort of personal aspect kind of falls away. So yeah, I think it's lovely. It's really nice.
Thank you very much.
So if you'll humour me for a moment, I'd like to play a little game that I've come up with.
Okay, okay.
Um, I've titled it Sweet Associations. So I'm going to name some classic British sweets, and you have to tell me the name of the first artist that pops into your head. And it has to be as fast as you can, okay?
Okay.
Ready?
I'm going off purely vibe here. Brilliant. I'm gonna
Yes.
let's do it.
Perfect. Okay, so three, two, one. Love hearts.
Bieber doobie.
Cola bottles.
Dayglow.
Licorice all sorts.
Still woozy.
Humbugs.
Ooh, Hosier.
Jelly babies.
Wallows.
Starbursts.
Orla Gartland.
Candy necklace.
Oh, I like those. Rainbow Frog Biscuits.
We do. Refreshers.
Oh, I'm thinking about one too much. Oh, sorry, my
No,
brain's
it's
gone blank.
okay.
We'll go Harry Styles for that one.
Brain lickers.
Ooh, Nirvana. I don't know why I got
Ooh.
like a sour taste from that then.
And finally, Skittles.
Ooh, Easy Life or Hard Life, I guess I call it now.
Okay, nice. It's funny how such a light-hearted game can be so stressful.
Yeah, no, I loved it. Thank you, but also at the same time, I was like, ah,
Yeah, it
no,
was
great.
interesting. I'm curious, what sweet would you associate yourself with?
Ooh, ooh. I'm a big fan of jelly babies, honestly. And I think also with the colourful aspect as well. I think that's quite on brand. And then I guess oh no, actually, I feel like I'm betraying the brand here. Has to be Haribo Straubs.
I was
That's
gonna say, I was literally so ready to jump in and be like,
no.
no, you're not. I know you better than yourself at this point.
No, yeah.
Can you tell me more about the artists who have shaped your music? Were any of them listed in Sweet Associations?
Oh yeah. So I'd say definitely the big two of the big ones that were I think I said in that in that game
It's all a
were
blur.
are definitely Bieber Doobie and Dayglow,
Yeah.
mainly because of I think our sounds are quite similar in terms of like the indie space, but also I know Bieber Doobie started making music from their bedroom, and I know Dayglow produced the whole entire first album from a shed, I think. Um, so yeah, I think when I was first sort of because I started out as a very acoustic artist, but then sort of seeing, I say these two people as well as some other artists, um, sort of doing what they were under one person's name, if that makes sense. I was like, oh, okay, this is quite cool. And then I was sort of delving into sounds and like how they're producing stuff in their bedrooms, and then both sort of. I'm inspired by both by sort of the sounds as well as the um, the kind of trajectory that they've taken because again people like Bieber Doobie, Oscar Lang, Dayglow and these different people have sort of proven that you can make stuff in your bedroom and still grow because I think again until I mean again I could be wrong, this is just how I've seen it. I'd say up until maybe the last 5 7 years tops, um the sort of making stuff in your bedroom. I guess as you said about 2014 YouTube as well. That's also sort
Mm.
of it is sort of going in a cycle. But I think it's specifically in like a music space. Um, it's still quite recent in terms of people making in their room, making full albums in their rooms and then like
Yeah.
promoting it and going on tour with it. Because there is like that big separation of making something in your bedroom, which is quite private and intimate, to then okay, now I'm gonna go on a full tour,
Hmm.
which is like really cool because it's really nice to have that, um, yeah, sort of taking that personality with you. So yeah, I'd say those two from that game are very much like inspirations to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Amazing. I mean, when I had Glossy Boy on the show, they were saying that, it's slightly amazing, but also slightly strange when you meet fans because it's like they know so much about you
Mhm.
and you don't know anything about them. So I can't imagine what that must be like.
As I say, with every show and everything, my favorite bit is meeting people, and
Mm.
it's just really cool to hear, like you said, all the stories that people have, and like people from all over the place, like connecting with music and things. Because I haven't ever run an ad for my music. I've never paid like Instagram or anything to push stuff. So any reach that I've had has all been organic. So that could mean that anyone, anywhere could be seeing my stuff. Which I mean is just the way the internet works, but specifically because I haven't put any ad spend on anything, it means that people from everywhere can be seeing it. So yeah, some of the stories I hear from like people from like South America and all these different places hearing my music, is just really cool. Because
Mm.
like yeah, I think the internet in a lot of ways is very scary and should be used with responsibly. Yeah. Um,
Public service announcement, kids.
yeah, thank you very much. Um, but equally, I think with the rise of like TikTok and social media, and again, obviously, pinch of salt with all these things, and as with everything, there is a balance, and you have to be careful. Um, uh, the I think the internet has really made music promotion and just music careers more accessible. Again,
Mm.
especially TikTok, and obviously we could spend hours talking about TikTok and its impact on the industry. But yeah, I think it's just really nice to um, have. I mean, I'm just grateful every day that I've been able to have grown this community from my bedroom and putting stuff on the internet. I think when I think about it too much, it's quite freaky, but in a good way, as in a
Yeah,
like whoa.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's really nice, and yeah, I couldn't see another way of approaching doing music really. I think I'd find it quite
Yeah.
difficult to kind of stop showing stuff from my bedroom and kind of be like, I'm gonna go into a studio now. Yeah, so it's just really nice to
Hmm.
always hear about all these different stories from people and how they've sort of connected, and it's just I'm always just really honored by it, both because just because they like the music and just because there are so many like deep stories I've heard from people about how the community and things have helped them, and it's just really lovely to hear.
Yeah, incredible. And would you say that your approach to songwriting has changed since, the lockdown days, or is it still very much the same, you just sit down with a guitar or
Um,
ukulele?
yeah, I think in many ways it's still very much the same. Because I don't, again, I'm always emphasizing like having fun with things and just, um, yeah, just seeing how it goes. Um, but I think in terms of the last, say, 12 18 months, the way my songwriting has changed is because, so I phrase this in a weird way, that my songwriting has changed slightly in the past 12 to 18 months in the sense of I've done more shows. So now I kind of have that under my belt, as it were. I'm kind of like, okay, I want to make a cool song that would sound cool live. What should we do? And then I've kind of
Right.
made more jumpier songs, which is why Sweetie has like Bed Bugs and like Pretty Words and stuff on it, which are quite guitar heavy.
Mm.
Because I started writing this just after we finished our first tour with Will Joseph Cook, and I was like, I want to make more jumpy music. But then at the same time, I've still got like songs like T for Two and Bitter, which are very like calm. Yeah, which is really nice. So I don't think it's. I'd say my approach in terms of like personality and like vulnerability and things are still the same, but in terms of like sonically, I'm like I want to make songs people can jump to in some ways.
Yeah.
I'm very much thinking like the live experience and like trying to make the shows always better than the last. So yeah.
Mhm. Okay, great. And something that I think transcends all of your music, and is the same whether it's, a song like Bitter or, for example, which is my favorite, I'll Give You the Moon.
Thank
I
you.
love that song. I love the cinematic feel. It's something that I personally always look for in music, and I think that yours really tells a story. I do have a question about that song.
Yeah, go
Was it
for it.
meant to be similar to or like reminiscent of It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah, that's where the name came from.
That is one of my favorite films of all time. And as I was listening to it, I was like, huh, I wonder if it's yeah, if it was intentional. But my question is, after that waffle, do any films spring to mind that you would love to have written the soundtrack or the score for?
Ooh. That yeah, that's really interesting. Thank you. One of my favorite films of all time is one of those that I don't know how well known it is because sometimes I say it and people are like, oh yeah, I really love that one. Some people are like, I have no idea what you're on about. Is Sing Street. Um, it's one that came out I think almost 10 years ago I think actually. And it's
I
one
love
that
that
really
movie. I love that movie.
it's
It's a great
so
movie.
good. Oh, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. I mean, it's fine if you didn't know what it was, but that's really cool
Yeah.
to do. Um, yeah, so I think again for those who don't know, it's about a band that's formed in the 80s in Ireland around like sort of like Duran Duran and The Cure and all these different cool 80s bands. Um, and there's such a good soundtrack on that. Go listen to that if you haven't already. Yeah, I think that very much inspired me to make music and like because I grew up around a lot of like Duran Duran and The Cure anyway. And there's a really cool scene in that film where they play my favorite song of all time. It's called In Between Days by The Cure, and it's really really cool. So I would have loved to have soundtracked that movie. And yeah, when you say about It's a Wonderful Life, that's a very good movie as well. Um, yeah, I think the another sort of like side note, I guess, is when I'm sort of like making music, I'm always thinking like, what could this song fit into in terms of like movie, and also if I can think of like a film scene in my head and be like, could this song be playing in the background? And I can, then I'm like, okay, I like that song, let's keep this one. So I think
Mhm.
that's how I kind of work sometimes.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. And when I was writing that question, I was thinking like, what films would I put your music to? Have you ever seen Submarine?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
would put your music to that. I
Oh,
feel
thank
like I could see it like a sort of like indie coming of age film. I think that would be
you.
great. So, what's next for you, Charlie Bennett? Any upcoming releases or tours that we can get excited about?
Oh, yeah. So I'm currently I released my first song of the year, which is called Speak and Code, which came out last month. Which was really cool. I recorded it sat here when there was rain on my roof, and I just wanted to record a song.
Amazing.
Uh, right now I am working on a third EP recorded in my room. And I've been leaking some of the songs from that on my social media, sort of like I think because I release everything independently, it's I kind of and now I'm lucky to have the community that I have. I'm sort of with this EP, it's very much sort of an interactive thing where I'm kind of showing snippets of songs and be like, which ones? I mean, this is also the way that other artists work as well. But I'm kind of being like, which songs do you like? And then we kind of build a track list together. I think it's yeah, so that's definitely in the works, and that should be set to come out later this year. And then I'm also in talks at the moment for various tours, either both my own or supporting other people. So fingers crossed about
Ooh.
those. So yeah, very
And are those
mysterious.
Very
But
mysterious. Are those national, international, global?
um, mix of both. So yeah, it's again, it's one of those where I don't know what I can say, what's confirmed, what
Mm,
isn't. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot of very exciting things that are kind of in the works at the moment. It's very interesting again doing all this from a bedroom. But yeah, I'm very excited for what's going to happen this year, and I think it's going to be a very interesting year for the community. So yeah, I'm very
for
excited.
sure. Well, I won't get you in trouble by pressing more on that, but it sounds like 2025 is going to be really exciting.
Thank you.
Um, so finally, at the end of each episode, I ask my guest for artists that they think deserve more recognition. So, can you give me two artists that you think are slept on?
Ooh, okay. Let me go into my playlist real quick.
Oh,
I've
he's
been.
organized.
Um, Oh, I don't know how you pronounce this artist's name. It's Ixaras, like Izaras, I think that might be right. They're a really cool Australian artist, I think. They make like very sort of like indie rock um like I don't know, it's so fun. And again, I know you've heard me say this word a lot, but that's sort of the aspects I'm taking from their music. I think they're only 17 as well, and they've got so many great
Wow.
songs, and it's brilliant. So go listen to them if you haven't already. And I've also been listening to well, I mean, we've been listening to Role Model, but I mean, yeah, go listen to Role Model. There's this band called Wilt. Again, if you like rockier, sort of like headbanging songs, they're very
Mm.
cool. You may have seen them on like I saw them on like Instagram Reels and things. But yeah, those are my I'd say top two at the moment. Yeah,
Okay, cool. I'll definitely check those out. I do like a good headbanging song, I have to
yeah.
say. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for those, and thank you for coming on the show. You've been an amazing
Thank you very
guest. It's
much.
been
Thank you for having
really
me.
nice to speak to you. So yeah, exciting 2025 ahead. I will look out for that. I will also look for any teasers that you put on your socials and try and like piece the puzzle pieces
There we go.
together.
Yeah,
But yeah,
definitely right.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, and have a lovely rest of your evening.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for having me, and please have a great day as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.